Hello, I'm Colie Otzel. Welcome to America's Salon Academy, the podcast. I believe that success leaves clues, so listen closely as I discuss life and business with some of the world's best hair artists. My guest for today has over 14 years of devoting her time to mastering her craft and developing her unique artistic approach to hairstyling. She is routinely invited by television networks to do on-camera makeovers and offer advice as a beauty guru and guest celebrity hairstylist. Her ability to reimagine styles for a number of celebrities has made her one of the most sought-after visionaries for her field. Her work has also been featured in MTV News, Glamour, E! News, People Magazine, OK Magazine, Life and Style, US Weekly, Celeb Buzz, major beauty blogs, and many more. Now her focus has been to invest back into the industry she has loved so much through education. She travels globally and partners with brands to spread her message of passion, quality, integrity, and authenticity. My guest for today is Briana CISNEROS. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm great. I'm so excited to have you on here. I can't wait to get through all these questions.
Oh, thank you so much. I'm excited to be here. I love anybody who's, kind of has that same like-minded, just, hey, let's talk about hair and let's share with people. This is like nothing but good things.
Yeah, definitely. It's, I do select, the people that I'd like to have on this podcast for that reason exactly. Mm-hmm. I want the message to be, really strong and inspiring for everybody who listens. So thank you so much for that.
Awesome. Yes.
All right. So tell me a little bit about where you're from.
Well, it's like such a loaded question. I've moved so much when I was little. I was born on the East Coast, actually, in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania.
Wow. Okay. So we're out of Harrisburg, Pennsylvania, so that's not far.
You know what? When you called me with your, I was like, wait a minute. I know that area code.
Yeah.
I actually do. So I still have a ton of family out there. But my dad is a director and animator and artist. And so we kind of have a very typical LA story where, everybody jokes that everybody who lives in LA is not actually from LA,
Right.
So we ventured out west for the entertainment industry and yeah, that's been a huge part of my life ever since.
So I can see where maybe some of the artistic side came from with your dad. What did your mom do for a living?
My mom was a stay-at-home mom, so she, took care of us and just did her thing. It was an interesting. I think it was kind of I don't know. It was she was kind of in charge of us and kind of in charge of the finances, but I think we ran a very fluid, crazy household where nobody was really in charge,
Right.
It was almost just like just kids running amok,
Nice. So yeah. What did you guys do for fun when you were growing up?
Well, we lived outside of Los Angeles, and I lived on a ranch, actually. So we had horses and tons of land. And so I was just a very much a scabby kneed, wild haired, kid, and just going to the lake digging and looking for tadpoles and, just
That's
really
so cool.
I was such a tomboy, but I was always crazy into fashion. So I would, lay out all my, the week before the first day of school, lay out every single outfit and made sure that it was print on print and, in third grade,
Right.
just really into it. And I mean, I remember cutting my hair even back then, myself in third grade, I was cutting myself bangs and showing up to school. And so I just, art and just kind of expressing yourself was always something that was in part of my life, but then the flip side of that was just we were just muddy and crazy and, I never wore shoes. I was like notorious for just always being barefoot.
Oh my gosh, you and I would get along so well. Like everything you just described is me. Yeah, that's
Really?
hilarious.
Yeah, that's cool.
So, how old were you when you knew you actually wanted to do hair?
You know, it was like definitely always inside of me. You know, when you look back and you're like I think girls just typically have those stories of like playing with their Barbie dolls, you know?
Right.
But mine were like I have a vivid memory of like having 10 of them all in one shampoo bowl. Like they were all lined up
Nice.
around my sink, you know, getting shampoos. And I'm like, what kid really does that? Like, I don't know if they play it in the shampoo bowl, you know? But so I can look all the way back to that. And I think it was about like, I think that's when I became kind of more like my own person was in third grade, you know,
Wow.
like for whatever third grade was this time in my life where I met my best friend. I became aware of like what I was like wearing more, you know, when you're really, really little, you're kind of just really, really little. And then all of a sudden, third grade, I think personalities kind of really explode out of a kid, you know?
Yeah.
And they start to kind of have these realizations of what they like. Even I had like a kiss. I'm totally revealing my age. I had like a cassette tape
Yeah.
Walkman, you know, like, and I was like listening to music, you know, and like, I just, so at a really early age, I think it was inside of me, you know? But then, and even I look back in my yearbooks and there was pictures, it said draw your future or something. And in the back of the yearbook, everybody's drawing pictures of them. And it was me with scissors in my hand and a brush,
Wow.
you know, like, and that was sixth grade, you know, before you graduate sixth grade. And so I think I always knew, but there were a couple of moments in my life where I fought it a little bit and I'm like, I'm going to be a photographer for Nat Geo. And now my husband works with photographers for Nat Geo like every
wow.
day.
Yeah.
So it's just a part. And then I was like, no, I'm going to be a filmmaker and I'm going to work in a crew like with my dad. And that's also been part of my life as well. So I've had these like weird things that I've always loved that still ended up being a part of my life. I think we're all born with something we're meant to do or a life we're meant to live. And it's just kind of always inside of you. And it's just kind of encouraging that to come out, you know,
Yeah.
and taking steps and being brave. So yeah, but it's always been there for sure.
I love that. So it's almost just like you've had all these like little puzzle pieces along the way, and it was just a matter of like kind of putting them together in the right space.
Totally. And no one can really tell you how to do that.
Right.
It's one of those things that you just like have to like go with your gut and recognize it when it's in front of you, you know?
Yeah. So what was your first love? Like when you started actually doing your hair, what was your very first thing you felt drawn to?
You know, okay. Yeah. In the younger years, it was definitely styling because that was my, you know, I don't think I was brave enough to just automatically pick up a pair of scissors or start painting someone's hair, you know?
Right.
So I remember I have Jamaican relatives. And so we would all sit around and braid each other's hair and they would just kick my freaking butt like all day long with braiding. It was like, oh my God, these girls are like, I mean, they would just like sneeze and then the hair would be braided. I'd be like, oh my God, like, they're amazing, you know? And so I really was just like, competitive with them, like, okay, I'm gonna go faster than them, you know?
Yeah.
And take cleaner sections, you know? And so styling, I think, was really fun for me when I was younger. And then, but I did my first haircut on somebody when I was in 7th grade. So, and then it was over with, like, it was just like hair cutting. Like, I just wanted to cut everybody's hair, you know, and people would let me.
Okay. I was going to say, was this like parent approved or is this like, you know, in your bedroom upstairs?
Right. Well, that's the funny thing is that like, I think because I had great parents, but very little parental supervision, you know? So like, so I don't think anything was ever parent approved, you know? Well, there's a funny story. So the very first haircut I ever did was she had hair to her waist. It was just above her waist. And she wanted to cut it to her shoulders. And she was always this rebel kid that was just like, and the instigator, you know, we all had that friend that just made us do bad things,
right.
you know?
Yeah.
And she,
Your
she
favorite
was
friend
like,
too. That's the thing. Yeah.
oh, totally, totally. But the pressure from them always feels like more intense. Like, you're like, I have to do what they say.
Right.
I don't know. And she's like, just do it. Just do it. It doesn't matter. My mom's not going to care. I've been wanting it. She knows I want to get this hair. Just cut my hair. You can do it. Just do it, you know? But it was like her confidence in me that made me like, yeah, let's just do it, you know? So I cut her hair off into a bob. And then I was so nervous. I was like, oh my God, I'm going to die. I like, her mom's going to kill me. And then her mom called me on the phone. And this was another one of those distinctive moments where I was like, okay, like this is what I'm meant to do, what I'm going to do for the rest of my life. Because she called me on the phone and she's like, asked me if I could do her hair.
Oh my gosh.
And you will be so surprised. And I just want to especially encourage, if there's anybody listening that's like, how do I grow? How do I learn? How do I anything? It's just do free hair.
Yeah.
Like,
just go for it.
If you do free hair, everyone will let you do anything to their hair. Like, people just don't want to pay for their hair.
I love
but
that.
you know, it's so funny because it's so true. I did so much hair before I even like ever like went to beauty school or worked at a salon or anything like that. I just did everybody's hair for free because I was so addicted to it, you know?
And I think that speaks a lot about the passion in general. You know, it's one of those puzzle pieces where, you know, it lives inside of you. It's almost, you know, being able to give it life and just going for it. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So how long did it take before you started to actually feel successful?
Wow, that's such a relative term because I still don't feel successful.
Yeah.
Like, yes, I do. And no, like, I'm very grateful. You know what I mean? And I recognize that I'm so blessed. You know what I mean? And that, that I've been given so much, you know, in life. But it's also the reason I say it's such a relative term is because I think that just depends on how you gauge success.
Yeah.
And for me, like, success has never equated to money. Money has been it's like a thermostat to kind of tell you how your business is doing, you know, like, you know, you're just trying to keep it growing. You know what I mean? Like, you're trying to keep it going forward and moving forward and you want to be in demand. So I think that money shows you that you're in demand, because the more demand on your time, the more demand of your art or your work, the more money people will pay you for your time and for your art and for your work. So that's been cool to see that grow. But at the same time, and I think it's important. It's an important way to like monitor your business. But actual success to me, is like doing what you love. Like, it's definitely doing something that you feel passionate about, but maintaining that passion and maintaining that, like, that love for life and for creating things. And then also, I think maybe just having a lot of, like, I think peace of mind and in your heart, kind of just just feeling content no matter what. So no matter where you're at. So to me, it's more of an internal success is something that I'm experiencing when I'm like, it doesn't matter what's happening around me. I feel like I have such a strong sense of self, and I feel very good in my craft and where I'm at and where I'm headed, because I think it's really important a lot of times to just let go of something. Like, for instance, there's so many times I've quit what I'm doing and moved on to a different job, even though it's still hair. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Like, I'm like, okay, I'm not in the salon. I'm going to go do this. And then you're at the bottom of the totem pole again.
Right.
Now you're like, what? Freelance and celebrity work? Nobody knows who I am.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
And then you quit that and, okay, education. You're like, but do people really want to learn from me? You know?
Yeah.
So I think success, it's so hard because I could literally quit everything I'm doing right now and then just go towards something else, but within hair, of course, because I can't ever stop. But you know, it's one of those things where I think that it's just an exercise. Success is something you can have right now, wherever you're at in your career. If you have a strong sense of yourself, you know where you're headed, and you can really live life to its fullest in your career. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
In that moment, I remember feeling like a very successful assistant, you know?
Right.
I
Yeah.
felt so successful in that moment because I was just like, I'm kicking so much butt.
Yeah. And, through different phases in your life, success does definitely mean different things. So
Yeah.
I always ask that question to every guest that I have on purpose, to kind of get where you're at in life, and what, what success means to different people is always a different answer. So I appreciate your answer. I think it's a great answer. And I agree with you. And I feel like that's where I'm at in my life as well. I feel like success is defined, in very different ways. So the next question, trick question I have for you.
I love your tricky questions. I feel like I go in different directions every question. I'm like, I'm going here. No, wait, this is what
You're such a hairstylist. That's how we, that's how we are. So what fears did you have to overcome in order to get where you are today?
Oh gosh, I think there's always daily fears. I think just as much as success evolves as you grow, kind of like what your definition of, and just trying to maintain that mentality of just, living in that. The same as fear. Like, I think that it changes as you grow. So, so when people ask, like, what was your major fear you had to overcome? It's so funny because I think in the beginning, it was like, just don't screw up,
Right. Keep it simple. Yeah.
Yeah, keep it simple. Just, make it look good, make the hair look good,
right.
And then as you grow, it's like, oh my gosh, like public speaking, and you're just like, there's 4,500 people out there and I have to go on stage and do what,
Yeah.
And so, so then there's that fear. But the one thing that is the same in every single like time that I've had to deal with fear or just deal with nerves, is that you run towards that feeling. So instead of running away from fear, you run straight towards it. So for me, like, that's something that's been a reality in my whole life, that if I know this is the right thing to do and the good thing to do, that I need, and I have fear, it's a good fear to face. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So every time there's like something that raises up in me, because it's kind of like now there's there's pressure because there's these companies with money and people relying on you and looking to you and expecting things from you,
Yeah.
And so, so that fear comes up all the time. Like you feel that little bit of like pit in your stomach or the little like flutter in your heart, and what has changed has been my ability to deal with that feeling. So every time any fear raises up, like I'm sure that people experience that in the salon, just when a color correction walks in and they're like, I don't know what the heck I'm doing, or even just like they get a promotion into, management or whatever, or they're thinking about opening that new salon and you get that feeling. It's just the more times you throw yourself in those situations, hair wise, career wise, whatever, the easier it is to just move straight through it. You move straight through the fear and you acknowledge that, like, oh, I'm human. I have a body that's responding to my fear and whatever, and move on.
Right.
Like, and then that's the only attention you give it. And then you use that as energy. You use it to kind of, you switch the fear, the nerves into something that like it has energy and like adrenaline,
Yeah. Actually, somebody told me one time pretty much that exactly. They said fear is just an energy. So you have to learn how to dance with it and kind of move with it. And ever since then, it really helped me, face it, like what you're saying. So yeah, that's great advice.
That's cool. I love how they put that it's like an energy that you dance with it and move with it. Cause it's not about fighting the fear, maybe a little bit, it's just not giving into it.
Right.
You know what I mean? You don't like listen to it. You go, hang on a second, like, and you can utilize it. There's a way for you to kind of take control back and not have the fear control you or your decision making,
Yeah, definitely. So did you have a mentor?
Oh, absolutely. I feel like I've heard several different things where people are like, you don't need mentors. And then I've heard people say, like, you know, you need to go and do an apprenticeship for 4 years before you can ever be on the floor, you know?
Right.
And I'm somewhere in the middle. No, I was kidding. No, but, no, but really, I believe that a mentor can absolutely, especially nowadays where people are meeting the person they're going to marry for the rest of their life online, you can have a mentor online. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Mentors can look so differently, but they're still just as important as they ever were. So now I think mentorships are kind of changing, but I think that they're crucial. And in my life, I've had so many mentors, and in different areas of my life. So some very real hair mentors that I've had was the very first gal, Dory, who I assisted. She, I went through an apprenticeship program. So I didn't go to beauty school. I actually apprenticed. Well, I went to beauty school for a little bit, and then I was like, I just moved out of my parents' house, moved locations. And then I was like, no, what do I do? You know, how do I get to beauty school? You know?
Yeah.
So, I went through an apprenticeship under her, and, she was just a tough boss, man. She was a tough cookie. She was just, you know, like, it was just about the hair and nothing else. Like,
Yeah.
there's no even feelings allowed, you know? It was just like, so it was great for me, you know? And then, Shannon was my business partner. So we were business partners owning a salon together at Shannon Hair Salon in Valencia. And there was a huge team of girls who I loved genuinely and deeply and still do. Like, in their, in our business partnership, like, she has some very real strengths that are not my strengths. Like, just different ways of leading people, you know, and she's definitely more structured and organized, and I'm more of like the artist type, you know, like the typical, you know, artist type.
Yeah.
And you can throw me in front of anything and I'll get the job done well. And, you know, but I think the thing that we had in common was just obsessing over quality of work and just non-compromising in that. But then she just business minded wise was a lot stronger than me. So I felt like she was my business mentor. I really genuinely felt like my dad was my life mentor and my mom in different areas, you know? And so it was, and even my husband now, like, it's so crazy because I feel like people would be like, what, your husband's your mentor? But I absolutely draw from him things that, like, he's helped strengthen me in areas that I'm telling you I didn't exist before I met him. You know what I mean? Just with self-worth and just really, like, feeling, he taught me how to feel genuinely loved. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I didn't know that existed.
Yeah.
Like, I was just like, oh, like, it's not about people just like wanting something from each other. There's a way to, like, yeah. And so just having self-worth helps you in life and in business, like, extremely. And, you know, like, having someone who's protective over you is a great feeling, because then you kind of go, oh, like, you let people kind of get away with more than what somebody who loves you lets them get away with.
Yeah.
So I'm like, would Julian let someone get away with that? No, he wouldn't.
Right.
You know, like, and so just all these different areas of my life, I've had so many mentors, and I think it's crucial to just seek mentorship,
Right.
you know, even if it's online, even if you're just reaching out or DMing to somebody and saying, hey, like, I love your work. And I've had people email me and just say, hey, I don't know why I'm asking you this, but I'm so inspired. Help, you know?
Yeah.
And like, and that's a bold move. And you know what I mean? And, but just, I definitely want to encourage people, like, don't ever stop reaching out to anybody ever. Like, I just think that, like, what have you got to lose, you know?
Right. Yeah.
And just always go for it. Yeah.
Yeah. I love that. I always have, like, when I'm, you know, doing some mentor type stuff with other hairstylists, I always do try and encourage them to have a circle of friends that are not just hairstylists, because there's a lot of times where you'll be inspired by somebody who might restore cars for a living, you know, or they do their business a little bit differently than you do, but it sparks something in, like, an entrepreneur's brain or an artist's brain that might lead you in a very creative direction. So to the hairstylist, you know, coming through, that would be my advice to you is, you know, make sure that you have mentors that are not just in our industry.
Totally.
Yeah. I mean, you would agree with that, right?
Oh, 100%. Like, And actually, I think that my dad's, so he's a director. So I would sit and watch movies with him, and every movie would be like a commentary because he's just talking through the whole thing, you know?
Yeah.
But in a good way, because he's teaching me about lighting and about textures
Yeah.
and about storytelling and about understanding humanity and like the depths of a character and why they operate the way that they do and make decisions the way that they do. And that has added so much to my career. I can't even tell you. Like, his like developing your brain and your eye artistically, like in different ways than just have to do with hair, it adds to your work because and I don't even know how to explain how, except for that there's just a certain, when your eye picks up on things that other people's eye doesn't pick up on.
Right.
Where I'm like, wait, do you see that lighting right there? Do you see what emotion does this photo make you feel? And it's just a picture of hair. you
Yeah.
know, but I do feel like art should provoke emotion. And I think that a lot of times people ask, like, how do you take a photo? I'm like, well, how does this photo make you feel?
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
And yeah. And if there's even a quality photo can kind of fall a little flat, you know, if it's not, you know, something like the hair's not like sexy, or it's not, just or the model's like laughing and you can tell that she's like really enjoying herself, or that, I don't know, she's maybe the background is something and then it just fits like at the beach or something and the hair fits the scenery, and you know, and so I think there's just so much more to what we do than just hair nowadays. So drawing from other artists and other creatives is so important, you know.
Yeah, definitely. That's great advice. And I love that because really the brain does work off of emotion. So if you're taking a picture or something like that, people are going to more so remember your picture over the other thousands of pictures they saw on social media that day. It's because it will provoke an emotion within you. So yeah, that makes a lot of sense. I've learned something today. So thank you for that.
Aw, thanks. Yeah, of course. No, it's so funny because even I think conversations, it's so important for hairdressers to connect, because conversations that happen genuinely and you're just kind of like I learned from just, I think my thought process is verbal, you know?
Yeah.
So I'm like, wow, I just learned something new, but I'm just verbalizing what I'm learning new, you know? So it's so cool to just like verbalize things with somebody who's like mine and just share and sit down and talk about it. And you both end up feeling enriched and learning, you know?
Yeah.
Cool.
So tell me a little bit about your workshop Evolve Education Company that you have, because I'm sure there's tons of people out there who have attended and would love to attend. So let me know a little bit about what that is.
Well, Workshop Evolve started just so organically. So remember back when there was just all this balayage just hit the market like years ago or whatever, you know, like maybe 4 or 5 years ago, balayage hit the market, and people were like, what, this is crazy, this is amazing. But then they were also seeing these before and after pictures that were like black to platinum, and they're thinking, what the heck, like I can't balayage my way to platinum, like what's happening, is there something like wrong in my work, or what's going on? And so we had been doing these huge transformation makeovers from black to platinum and everything in between, and doing it where it looks very balayaged and looks very organic. And so foliage was something that we like felt like we invented, which of course nobody's invented anything because everything's, you know,
Yeah.
somebody's been doing it somewhere for sure. But yeah, we really came up with our own technique based on, we went to Paris and we learned balayage from the guys who invented it. And then we just took a million classes and from different celebrity hair colorists and just different things like that. And kind of just really started to, just what any hairstylist does, you know, when you make something completely new and your own and kind of create new techniques. And then so when Workshop Evolve hit, it was one of those fear moments where I'm like, is this going to do okay? I don't know.
Yeah.
And then I did this like countdown, like 3, 2, 1, I'm going to announce a class. Yay. You know, and independent education was just barely kind of starting. And then I looked on the website and it said it's tickets go on sale at midnight. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm so stupid. I do not know what I'm doing. Tickets go on sale at midnight. I'm not going to sell a single ticket. Who's going to like at midnight buy tickets? And I just did this whole countdown. I feel so ridiculous, you know?
Right.
And so then I go to sleep, and at midnight I hear ping, 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 and it was sold out in 5 minutes.
Wow.
And then we actually had to I had to hurry up and call my girl and be like, shut down the website. Like, because I didn't know how to cap off the class, like I was just like, holy crap, we have like 60 people coming,
Yeah.
and the salon wasn't here, so we at that time, and we didn't know how to manage all of that. And we were like, okay, it's going to be demo only, but so then from there, it's just been so incredible and such a blessing. And it just keeps evolving into whatever the hairstylist needs, because so for our education, we just look at the work that's out there online and just go, okay, this is what needs to be taught. And then we just move on to the next thing. So now we just opened it up for cutting. So we're doing a lot of like razor scissor cutting, but with like, the shag, the pixie, the bob, and all, because I feel like it was so heavy color focused for a while that now our industry just needed haircuts. And so we're like, okay, let's get into cutting again. And so so Workshop Evolve just becomes whatever the hairstylists need it to be in that moment. It's not about showing off. It's about sharing, rolling our sleeves up, and really, really creating something that's like as high quality as you can possibly muster your fingers to deliver. Like that's what we're about. Like we're about crazy attention to detail and delivering something that is going to make you stand out in your salon.
Now, where can people go to these workshops? Are they all around, say, like the US, or where are they?
So we have been traveling a lot for it. The majority of them have been at our home salon at Shannon Hair in Los Angeles. So we've done most of them out of Los Angeles, and most people have just been traveling. But we do travel, throughout, and find there's just different cities like Toronto and New York. But if anybody has any, if they're like, we can definitely get a group of people together, we want you to come. The best way is to just email through the website, through workshopevolve.com, and then you'll be able to get something good.
Yeah, that's so cool. So, all right, just one last question for you, just because I'm curious. Are you more of a pizza and beer kind of girl? Or are you more of like a gym and smoothie kind of girl?
Definitely anything to do with food. So gym and smoothie is like, no.
Nice.
Like immediately I'm like, that would feel so good. I so want to do that. I just want to juice, and I'm just going to take a jog like on the beach. And I would feel so accomplished for my day. But my biggest obsession in life is food. Like I just love food. So it's hard for me because I just like, that's the way to my heart, is just like wine and dine and a good meal and beautiful food that tastes wonderful. And beer and pizza sometimes is exactly what you need.
Oh my gosh. It's like, it just makes sense to be a hairstylist and have beer and wine or pizza sometimes. Yeah, definitely.
Oh my gosh. Like, especially just late at night. Yes. It's so terrible, right?
We're both going to have pizza today. You know that, right?
I know, you're making me crave it. I'm like, dang it. I want to be a fitness smoothie girl.
Yeah, right. Well, Brianna, thank you so much for being my guest today. I think everybody can take so much away from this podcast, and I appreciate you so much. So I realize that time is extremely valuable, and thank you so much for sharing your time with me today.
Of course. Thank you so much. It's such an honor to be here and just chat with you about stuff we both love.
Yeah,
so good.
I wish you the best of luck. I will definitely be on the lookout for all the education that you have coming up.
Okay. Thank you so much, Colie. I'll talk to you soon, hopefully.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
All right. Bye-bye.
For more education and information, visit americassalonacademy.com.
If you haven't heard about Anchor, it's the easiest way to make a podcast. Let me explain. It's free. There's creation tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone or computer. And Anchor will distribute your podcast for you so it can be heard on Spotify, Apple Podcast, and many more. You can make money for your podcast with minimum listenership. It's everything you need to make a podcast in one place.
Download the free Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started.